Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone. We're here at Kidspace, and this is one of the new segments that we've started recently. We're calling it Parents Zone. This is just for you parents, you and your children. We are discussing today natural hair care for children, and my special guest is Fiona Blagrove from PB Organics. Now Fiona, can you go ahead and tell me about what you do at PB Organics?
So essentially PB Organics was started because I had particular problems with my hair that I couldn't solve with what I saw on the shelf or the shelves. So I started PB Organics because as a child I had a very unhealthy relationship with my hair because I have very thick hair. So I set out on a mission to solve that problem, and other persons have the same problem that I have. So
I see. We're going to discuss the challenges a little later, but I see you have some products here on the shelf. Can you tell me about what's here on the table?
Yes, so these are just some of the products from the line. So we have here aloe vera oil.
Aloe vera oil.
Completely natural ingredients. And this is the sample that corresponds to that. We have a Shebe moisturizer. And the oil that goes with it as well, and we have a Ayurvedic deep conditioning treatment that goes with this. This is the hair growth oil, and a leave-in conditioning spray.
Okay, all right. So, talking about hair care for children, we have to discuss what is even natural hair care. What does that mean? What does that entail?
So for me, and this is my definition now, when I think about natural hair care, I think of it as a twofold type of thing. Okay. So for one, natural hair care entails caring for your hair with natural products, and also using techniques or employing techniques that cause the least amount of damage to your natural hair. So on one side, it's the technical process, and on another side is the products that you use, natural products, to care for your natural hair.
All right, so let's take it down to children. What does natural hair care look like for children specifically? Is there anything different that they should use, any different techniques, anything that we should know?
Most of the natural hair care techniques are pretty much the same for adults and children. So generally speaking, you would want to use natural products for your children because children are typically more sensitive than adults. So I would say that's where the main difference would come in when you think about natural hair care for children. Okay. Carefully selecting products and checking your ingredients to ensure that you can identify what you see on the bottle. So you would not use products that have any parabens, sulfates that may be drying or stripping to the hair, natural oils or silicones and stuff like that, because children are very sensitive.
And you mentioned the bad things, like the parabens and the silicones. What are some of the good things? I suspect some of the ingredients that you mentioned earlier. What are some good things that are suitable for children?
Like things from nature, so your aloe vera, your castor oil, and might I also add that even though these are natural products, not everybody, some people still have sensitivity to natural stuff, which is why on these labels you will notice that the caution is to do a patch test before use. But the key is that they are natural products and biodegradable, good for the environment also.
Right. Now, we are talking about hair care, and as you know, if you look at any crowd of people with natural hair, everybody's head looks very different. Can you tell me about the differences in hair, maybe texture? What are some differences we can observe?
Yes, so when it comes to hair, especially people of African descent, right, it's a broad spectrum. So you have curly, coily, very coily hair, like mine, and wavy, and then you have, well, I don't think completely black descent have straight hair, but it's just one of the hair types on the chart. straight, which is probably the easiest to moisturize and care for.
Is there, so we know you said coily, curly, straight. What are the differences in caring for each type of hair?
So that's where the meat of the matter comes in, because every hair type is unique and requires different techniques. And the curly, wavy, straight hair, also we have to consider like hair porosity. So you have high porosity, medium, low.
You come with these big words now. Tell us, what is porosity?
Porosity is the degree to which your hair absorb or retain moisture. So for high porosity hair, moisture comes in easily, because think about something very porous. Things leaches out very easily and things come in very easily. So for those hair types, you look at thicker products that coat the strands more effectively.
To keep in the moisture?
Yes.
Because we lose it so easily?
Yes.
Okay.
And for low porosity hair like mine, in moisturizing our hair texture that are very coily, think about a road that has a very windy type of look. You would say that it takes a lot of gas to navigate that type of road, right? Yes, so think about your hair the same way.
Yes.
This type of coily texture, if I put moisture at the root, and your roots, your sebum from your roots, your hair, your scalp produce oils, natural oils that moisturize. But for our coily hair texture, think about the twists and turns that the product have to navigate in order to moisturize the entire hair shaft. No, that's a lot of work for the products itself, so you have to assist hair texture that are more coily, like mine. So you think about your hot oil treatments, where you can use the aloe vera oil or any, hair growth oil, a part of the line, or any oil of your choice or mixture. But it takes a lot to care for here on the more coilier side of the spectrum than it is to care for straighter hair.
And this hot oil treatment, is it safe for children to do hot oil treatments?
Hot oil treatments, it's milder than it sounds. So you gently warm the oils before you apply it to the hair, and you can use a steam cap and apply a satin bonnet or something over the hair to kind of help the oil penetrate the hair more if it is low porosity, because moisture is more difficult to get into that type of hair.
I see. Now you mentioned that we have to assist the hair, and you mentioned your childhood as a child. It was traumatizing sometimes. What are some things that parents can do to assist with making the process as manageable as possible for their children, especially if it's a Sunday afternoon, children's hair have to be done, it's stressful? How should they carefully manage the child's hair?
So one of the major problems that I observe in parents caring for the children's hair, a lack of understanding of hair of our nature. You have to be able to assess what the hair needs. And one of the major problems I've seen is lack of moisture. And think of a tree branch. If it is dry, it's gonna break and it's gonna be very, brittle. The hair is the same way. Your hair needs moisture. And a lot of times the hair is very difficult to manage is because it's very dry. It's coarse, a lot of friction.
What is moisture? How can I moisturize the hair?
So you have two methods of moisturizing your hair. There is a LCO method, which is liquid, oil, and cream. So liquid could be your leave-in conditioner, which is mainly water, and then you would coat that with a, suitable oil, and then you add your moisturizer on top of that.
And what method is that again? LCO?
Yes, liquid, oil, cream, and then you have the lock method, which is liquid, cream. LCO, which is liquid, cream, and oil, or LOC, which is liquid, oil, or cream.
Okay.
So any one of those methods work, and then you would apply a steam cap or sit under a hooded dryer for probably about 5 to 10 minutes. It helps the process of the moisture. And also deep conditioning is a lot of things that is another thing that people don't really do a lot, especially in our culture. If you should ask people about deep conditioning, they probably wouldn't know what you're talking
Especially
about.
for children.
They just think about a condition and that's it. So deep conditioning your hair helps the moisture to deeply penetrate the hair shaft. So you have a longer lasting moisturization than if you just use a fast acting conditioner and just go.
Okay, so the types of conditioners now, I remember as a child, my mother would put in conditioner maybe for about, what, a minute or two and then quickly wash it out. What should she do instead, or what should she have done instead?
So fast acting conditioners have their place because I believe that it is good as well. So you would use that probably on a weekly basis depending on how often you wash your hair. But deep conditioning your hair bi-weekly is a good starting point. So ensuring that your hair is always conditioned and be in a moisturized state is key, I believe, to retaining length, because dry hair breaks, and if your hair is breaking at the same rate at which it is growing, you won't see any progress there. So I would say moisture retention is key.
Yes. So when we have the children and they go to school and other children call them some derogatory names, I won't repeat them, that means the parents have something that they can do. They can assist the child in having the best possible outcome. You mentioned deep conditioning, and I know as adults it's easier for us maybe because we go about our day, we wrap our heads up. What about the child? If they are a busybody or if they are restless, what are some good things that the parent can do to ensure that the child keeps the cap on their head and they are getting the 10 minutes or 15 minutes for the conditioner to work? What can the parent do?
Well, probably they can engage them in some games, and nowadays a lot of them, you know, give them something probably biblical to watch or something that entertains them. But it's not typically for a long period, probably 20 to 30 minutes. If you have low porosity hair, it takes a longer time for the hair to absorb moisture. But yeah, just find ways of, you know, entertaining them, distract them from the fact that something is on their head. Typically, hair of that nature starts from probably about 3 years up, because below that, they're not going to really understand that, you know. Right. This cap is on your head for this reason. Yes. So
from 3 years up, it's suitable for the child to start conditioning, that sort of a thing. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Fiona. We are going to continue our discussion. We're going to go deeper into the do's and don'ts of natural hair care for children. So stay with us. Don't go anywhere.
For all your events, such as educational forums, workshops, book launches, weddings, and more, contact Noreen Daly, the ultimate MC and event host. Visit noreendaly.com or follow her on Instagram at Noreen Daly Jam. Noreen Daly, creating long-lasting memories.
Are you looking for natural hair care solutions? Want nourished, healthy hair? PB Organics is here for you. Our range of products include Ayurvedic hair oils, deep conditioning treatment, and moisturizers designed to nourish, strengthen, and promote healthy hair growth. Contact us today to start your journey to healthier, more luxurious hair.
Welcome back to Kids Space, right here on our segment Parents Zone. We're talking about natural hair care for children. With me, I have Fiona Blagrove, and we're picking up the conversation. We're talking about the do's and don'ts of hair. How can we properly manage our children's hair? Fiona, you mentioned something just before our break about hair porosity, and you explained what it is. Can you tell us how can we know for sure what type of porosity that our children have? Walk me through the process.
All right. Let me use an example in the real world. Consider a basket. If you should submerge that in some water. A basket has a lot of holes in it, right? You submerge that in water. Water gets into it very easily. As opposed to a bucket. You know, bucket don't come with holes. Try submerge that into water. You have to put in some effort. So it's the same way with testing your hair porosity. So in washing your hair, you realize that when you put water onto your hair, it soaks up very easily. There's a high chance that you have high porosity hair, or high to medium. If it takes a little bit of time, you may have medium porosity here. But here like mine, on the other hand, when I'm washing my hair, to soak my hair takes a little bit of time. Sometimes I have to squeeze it a bit to get it fully saturated. Definitely I know that I have low porosity here. It takes a little bit of effort for moisture to get in.
Right. Are there any tests other than squeezing the hair and from the experience of washing it? Are there any tests that a parent could do to get a quick analysis to say if it's not washed day and they don't want to go ahead and wet the child's hair? Is there a quick test that they can do?
So there's a common test that is widely used out there and widely accepted. It's the dropping your hair in the cup. I don't think that's the name of the test, but you get a cup of water and you just take a little snip of the hair, you drop it in the cup, and depending on how well that sinks or if it floats or whatever, you can have a good idea of. So medium porosity here would slowly sink to probably about the middle after some minutes or so. High porosity here would sink faster, obviously, and low porosity here, like mine, would more than likely stay to the top.
Okay, so either stays to the top or it takes a very long time to sink.
Take its time and shrink. So the timing process of how well the hair sinks.
Right. And hair is so different. I'm understanding that if hair is so different, it means that there are different things that we should do and shouldn't do. What are some things? Let's talk about the specific hair porosity types now. For high porosity, what should I do? What shouldn't I do? Especially for a child going to school, maybe. How should that child's hair be handled with high porosity?
All right, so can I speak generally in terms of do's and don'ts first and then I narrow? All right, so generally speaking, for your child's hair, if you can get them to sleep with a silk cap on to reduce their hair rubbing against the pillow and, you know, causing damage or breakage to the hair, that would be good. And developing a moisture routine for them. So either you wash their hair bi-weekly and deep condition. If you wash weekly, you can do a fast-acting conditioner, but ensure that you keep up with your deep condition. Because at the end of the day, lack of moisture will always lead to detangling problems and stuff like that. It causes the strands to go away. So you want to ensure that your moisture you're on top of your game with the moisture. So for low porosity hair, which is hair that is more difficult to moisturize, you want to always incorporate like hot oil treatments and, you know, your heat cap to moisturize the hair. And when detangling your child's hair, detangling brushes I would recommend. Combs can sometimes cause a lot of mechanical stress on the hair, and then they develop this negative association with getting their hair done.
You come with a big word again, Fiona. What is the mechanical stress on the hair?
Like the pulling, the tugging, you know, you're having to comb, because a lot of persons too, I notice in detangling hair, they start from the roots and then they pull the comb, and that can be very painful. Because I had to go through that as a child, so getting my hair done, I associated that with something negative. So you know, if you don't educate yourself on how to care for hair properly, you find that, you know, you feel like you're less pretty or less, you know, of a desirable hair type because your hair is very thick. But it comes down to the understanding of how to deal with this type of hair texture. So for low porosity hair, you have to typically involve some form of warmth or heat to get the moisture in. Use like thinner products, probably like these, that easily gets into the hair. And for deep condition, you want to keep your products on the thicker end for probably all of the hair types. But for high porosity hair now, you want to use less oils. You want to use oils sparingly because those are easily weighed down by products.
Okay.
So
what the person should use lighter products, you said, for high porosity?
Yes.
Okay.
For probably daily moisturization, because I use this very often because it gets in easily because of the tight nature of the pores. Because your hair is like, if you should look at your hair under a microscope, it has scales that overlap. Okay. So like high porosity hair, their scales are more open to receiving moisture than our scales are tightly. So you want a product that easily seeps in for daily moisturization.
You mentioned something earlier about detangling. How should we detangle our children's hair?
So, never try to detangle dry hair. That happens a lot. Because as I said, a lot of persons don't have the understanding of dealing with black hair. They don't understand it, so they don't like it. So they process their hair, relaxers, and that's a whole different story. Because relaxers are not supposed to touch your scalp anyways. So, yeah, you develop an understanding of your hair type and you select products that are best suited to your hair type. So you have low porosity hair, you kind of stick to the lighter products, engage more at oil treatments to, lock in moisture into the hair. And for finer hair textures, softer hair, you want to use thicker products that kind of coat your hair strands effectively and keep moisture in more longer.
So the children, they don't have to fear when it's time to wash hair or it's time to detangle. When mommy or daddy understands how to take care of the hair, then it's more of an enjoyable experience for children and for mommy and daddy as well.
With a lot of suppleness too, because that's one of the things I couldn't find when I was, when I had to be dealing with my hair like that.
When you say supple, what do you mean? And which product here has slip? Which product here has that type of slip that you're referring to?
It's very moisturizing. It, enable you to detangle the hair more easily. You put it onto the hair, it just melts in and the strands are more lubricated and they slip past each other instead of tangling up with each other and then you have to take them out. So it makes the detangling process a little bit more, manageable and less painful.
Okay. So for children who are sometimes restless or they sleep a little rough, I know you mentioned that they could use a satin bonnet, but what if they can't keep on the bonnet? Every time they wake up, their body is one way, the satin bonnet is another way. What can they do?
No problem, man. Just make their pillowcase satin.
Okay. So
they sleep on the pillow or the sheet.
Okay.
So there's not too much friction with the cotton because cotton also dries the hair out.
Okay.
So you don't want to have your hair coming in contact with too much cotton, and there's a problem of lint, and lint can cause knots, tangles. So
what are some other challenges that might come from caring for a child that has natural hair? You mentioned the knots, you mentioned the kinks. What else, if there's any?
I can't think of anything else right now, but I would continue to stress the major problem is moisture. Because lack of moisture makes the hair very, brittle, dry. It's very not desirable to comb. So if you can get a good moisture routine in, I strongly believe that parents would have an easier time dealing with their child.
What could a good moisture routine look like for each hair type? What could mommy do, or daddy, if daddy is doing the hair as well?
So if your child has thicker hair like mine, you would want to definitely make deep conditioning because that affords, deep moisture penetration into the hair for longer periods of time. For medium to low to high porosity hair, you want to ensure that you use your lightweight oils and your lightweight conditioners for daily moisture. So if they're going out to school on a daily basis, you're not gonna be conditioning every day. So you have a leave-in conditioner that is lightweight and it's just a quick moisture boost.
All right. So based on all the products you have lined up here, what would be a good order for me to use them, or should I just put anyone in my hair at any time of the day?
No, and also again it goes back to your hair porosity. So you probably having high porosity hair, you would want to probably keep this handy most of the time, especially if you're out and about on a hot day. You feel your hair dry, you just top up on moisture. You don't, or if you come in at night, you have a routine, you don't sleep with your hair out, because a lot of persons just go to bed, not considering the hair like that.
What about if the child has in a protective style? They have their hair in cornrows or it's put in some plaits or twists. How can mommy or daddy make sure that the hair is still moisturized even though it is already in a style?
Perfect. So that's where lightweight conditioners come in. So lightweight conditioners like this one is very, very good for protective styles because you're not going to want to use a cream in your protective style. That's not so desirable or suitable either. So lightweight conditioners, or even some water and oil if you don't have a lightweight conditioner.
And what is in that one that you keep touching, that lightweight conditioner?
This as in fenugreek extract and aloe vera as its main ingredients, and conditioning element in it to help to keep the strands conditioned and moisturized.
What are the benefits of those ingredients, fenugreek and the aloe vera? What are the benefits of those to the hair?
So they nourish the hair. Aloe vera is like a holy grail for a lot of persons, use it on their skin, hair, whatever. So it protects and coats your strands, protect it from UV damage. Fenugreek help to stimulate growth and nourish your hair follicles and stuff like that.
Yes, and you mentioned growth. A lot of us, we desire growth, and our children's hair, they like when they have the long hair, right? So if a child desires to have long, flourishing hair, you mentioned the fenugreek, you mentioned aloe vera. Is there anything else that the parents can do to ensure that their children have flourishing, healthy hair?
So your natural oils, just stick to natural products that cause the least amount of, risk for irritation to the scalp. So your scalp is like, that's where your hair live basically, and also your diet and drinking water, because your hair is embedded. It's more than what you see here. Yes. So also ensuring that they are hydrated inside also, because your hair need that nourishment and eat properly as well.
You mentioned the scalp. How can a parent pick up that something is wrong with the child's scalp? What are some telltale signs?
So if they have flaky scalp, some children, they go to school, they play, they exposed to all type of bacteria. So sometimes that may appear as, small patches on the scalp that look white or scabby, or sometimes it may break out in a sore, so you know that your child have a fungal infection, which you may need to seek the advice of a dermatologist before, adding any products to that.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Fiona. We want to get into some greater detail just after we come back from this quick break, but I want to ask you, Fiona, for the advantages, a lot of parents might debate if they should keep their child's hair natural or if they should process their child's hair. What would be the advantage of the parent keeping the child's hair in its natural state?
It's very straightforward. So a lot of persons may not know, but your scalp pH, which requires your scalp pH is supposed to be at a certain range, probably between 4.5, 5-ish to 60 or about. So your products that you use should also be in that pH range, because sometimes when your scalp pH is off, that's when it creates environment, because God is good, He creates these environments to kind of ward off bacteria overgrowing on certain surfaces like your scalp or whatever. So relaxers are very high on the pH scale. It's probably about 14 up there. There's no that should go nowhere near your scalp. That's very dangerous. Understand? So, and also relaxers make your hair more porous. So those scales that I mentioned earlier, the relaxers kind of open them all up. So you need to have low nor medium, it's just opened up. So it gets dry easily, break, brittle, a lot of problems. So it's important to keep your scalp and your products pH balance, because your hair is protein pH sensitive. You don't want to be using products that throws that off, and then you're gonna have problems.
You taught me something today, Fiona. I had no idea that the scalp had to be within a certain window of a pH balance. Thank you for that. We're going to learn much more details right after this quick break.
Mummies and daddies, do you want to save space for your children to learn more about God? Then join us on kidsspace!
Yes, boys and girls, mommies and daddies, join us for story time, discover more, and explore more. And don't forget our Kidspace Kitchen with Auntie Patrice. Log on to our YouTube channel today. It's Kidspace, where we bring you inspiration from our space to your space.
Welcome back to Kids Space with our very special segment, Parents Zone. We're talking to Fiona Blagrove. She has been telling us about natural hair care for children. Now, Fiona, could you give me a quick recap of some of the things we've discussed today? Hair porosity, pH balance. Give me a full recap for anybody who might have missed the first few minutes. Give me an overview.
So first and foremost, the most important thing in caring for your child's hair or maybe your hair is understanding your child's particular hair type and hair needs. Because you cannot care for something if you don't understand its needs or what it requires to be cared for. And testing hair porosity, as I mentioned earlier, you use a cup, a small part of your hair, drop it in the cup and observe the timing it takes for your hair to move from the top to the bottom.
Okay. All right. We also talked about some ingredients that are beneficial for the hair. Remind us of what those are and why they are beneficial.
So your natural ingredients like your aloe vera, comes from, most people have aloe vera in the garden. Fenugreek, your natural butters, your natural oils like shea butter, coconut oil, extra virgin castor oil and stuff like that.
Okay. And how can a parent ensure that their child's hair has the best chance of thriving? Can they, you mentioned the satin bonnet. Is there anything else that a parent can do?
I would say invest in a detangling brush.
Okay.
Or finger detangle the hair and don't detangle the child's hair when it's dry. That's very painful.
Oh, goodness.
So kind of, if you don't have a leave-in conditioner like in a spray or whatever of the sort, you can even use aloe vera juice.
So
it does wonders too, because aloe vera has a lot of suppleness to it.
okay, and you mentioned that it has slip.
Yes.
So how does that help with detangling the hair?
It kind of like coats the strands, so that instead of the strands tangling onto each other, they slide past each other. So you have a more gliding instead of tangling, and you have to try to get that out with the comb or whatever.
All right,
so you
nice.
use your fingers to carefully detangle the hair, and then you go in your detangling brush and it should be able to.
All right, so tell me, Fiona, are there any encouragements that you have for parents? How can they be educated about their child's hair? What do you have to say to the parents?
I would say do your research. Don't only take my word for it. Do your research and get to understand your child's hair on their level and their hair needs, and try to develop like a routine or regimen that is specific to your child's hair needs to keep moisture in, reduce dryness and just overall unfavorable hair experience. It also gives them confidence when you invest in their hair from that age, and they feel beautiful, they look beautiful. Your hair doesn't have to be dry, because I used to be told a lot when I was a child my hair was very dry until I understood my hair. So invest in gaining that knowledge about your child's hair and how to care for your child's hair, and select the products with the best ingredients, natural ingredients for your child's hair care.
Thank you so much. Can I ask you quickly, which one is your favorite product here on the table? And why is it your favorite?
It's hard to say.
You love them all?
Yes. But this one, I always have this in my bag. Because sometimes when I'm out and about on a hot day, I don't like to feel my hair dry. So once it is dry, I'm going to use my mist.
All right. Thank you so much, Fiona, for being with us today as we talked about natural hair care. It was a pleasure having you. And parents, make sure to stick around for the next episode of Parents Zone. This is Samantha signing out from Kids Space.